Good morning, everybody. Orange J here with another War of the Visions video, and today we're going to talk about team building with A2. More specifically, which vision cards do you want to use when you're putting a team together with her? And even more specifically, are you focusing in on greatsword teams, or are you focusing in on ice element teams, or is there good crossover between the job-based and element-based cards where you can build a mix of those two teams? We're going to go over all of that in today's video. This was a little exercise I was doing with myself at work today as I was thinking about what teams I want to run her with next week. Keep in mind, that's when most people are going to start playing A2. It's early next week. You know, let this first week of login bonuses play out. Let your daily purchases bonus play out through this weekend. You're really going to start seeing a lot of ice teams, I think, and a lot of A2 teams next week. So I am going to keep that in mind a little bit. First thing I want to look at, though, is the units that she can pair with effectively. So greatsword units, I'm going to look at those first. If you're trying to build a greatsword team with A2, like a job-based vision card team, here's your roster on the bottom. You're going to see a whole lot of damage units, and that's fine. You need damage in a PvP team. Can you go all damage? Yes, you can. That can work. But the only thing besides damage that you're bringing here is tanks. You have Joom and you have Rain. Now, Joom, with the rise of Ice Element, which is the popularity of A2, is going to falter a little bit. You're not really going to want to run a Joom into a bunch of ice teams. Rain, on the flip side, is definitely a feather in the cap of running a greatsword team right now. Rain scales off of magic, which definitely opens up your card selection up here a little bit. And his fire element will help you against the ice teams that I'm just sure are going to be around next week. But still, I don't like that roster as much as I like the ice element roster. You have damage dealers galore in ice, and you have more of a variety, right? You have your Elias. If you want range damage, you have mages like Zoma. I mean, I like Zoma, sure, okay. Like Medina, you know, there's some mages in here. Valentine's Day Solir, if you really want to go that route. But you do have Jaden, for example, scales off of magic. You have ranged options like Elia. You have support in Velis right here. You have a good MR unit and a good 70 cost unit in McLeod and Grifford. Then you have tanks. Now, you can run Snow or Barrett if you just like really want to hard force those. You have Agrius, who someday Final Fantasy Tactics will come back like it needs to and upgrade them. It hurts my heart. But you have Fryevia, who from what I hear is the best ice element tank right now. And ever since she got that last round of upgrades is really putting in some work for a lot of people. So I like the variety of options you have in the ice element better. It's not a runaway favorite for me, but I do, in terms of unit comps, I like what you can put together with ice a little bit more. There's a lot more to this conversation than that. Let's go back over here. I want to focus in on what vision cards you want to run next, because Espers, especially with the Resonance update, hey, just use your best Espers, right? Use them to tune agility, all of that, but vision cards is what it comes down to, in my opinion. Can you go greatsword or can you go ice? Let's check out these VCs. We're going to think about unit resist, AOE resist, and agility first and foremost. Those are the three big stats, and you're going to want those in all of your team comps. For greatsword teams, let's start with agility here. You have 3 agility greatsword cards. You have the HP % debuff weakening agility card right here from the Christmas the Hollow Christmas card, right? You get 15% agility, which isn't bad, 30% HP, 20% debuff weakening. I don't think this is a particularly great card to run on a greatsword team. So, okay, it exists. Your other agility card is this one, which is 15% agility, 20 magic human killer. So again, if you're running Rain, he will like that. And then 36 elemental chain resist. It's a pretty mid card for a greatsword team, honestly. Like, it's not doing a ton for you here. Again, you're going to have to put this on Rain. It has a picture of Rain on it, so it's fine, but not going to tip the favors for me. Then you get to this one right here. This card is a beast. This is a great card. So it's 18% agility, 20 crit rate, and 20% magic resist. I really like this card for a greatsword team. And you can look at crossover here. If you wanted to run an ice element team with this card, you could use this with all of these other ice units, including, importantly for me, Fryevia, you have Medina on here, you have a couple other greatsword ice users. Gilgamesh is still a popular unit out there, and Winter Ravis if you're going for a little cost limited. So I think this card is going to be a pillar of a lot of either ice element teams with A2 or greatsword based teams with A2. If you have in order to change the world, you're going to get some run out of it in either one of your team comps. So this is definitely one to pay attention to. Now, let's switch over to the ice element cards that give agility next and look at those. You have Dark Shiva right here. It's 15% agility with 10 critical evade and 38% magic. This is a very, very powerful vision card. Also, it gives single target resist and AOE resist as unit effects. If you're running this on an ice unit, it gives 10 of both of those stats to them with ice attack and magic up. Now, this is a magic scaling card, but there are magic scaling ice units to work into your team comps. I think this is about as good as you're going to get from an agility card if you can take advantage of all of these stats on like a mage for your ice element team or like a Freya via magic based tank. Then you have Frost Flower Flash Mystical Ice Laswell. It's a hell of a name. It is agility 15%, human killer 25, which I really like, and acquired AP 25. The unit effects here aren't nearly as good unless you are running Laswell, which he is a DPS option. He's a popular unit, fan favorite, especially for FFBE people. So this is an option, but I think your best two agility cards are going to be Dark Shiva, which you're going to have to go mono ice if you're running this card, or I guess like a weird mix of Greatsword, ice, and water. But this is a fantastic option. Or the other good option being right here, we'll call In Order to Change the World. I can never remember that name. I have to read it every time. So I'll call agility cards a wash. I think depending on which one of these works into your team comp better, I think you could use either one of these and feel like you're getting the most bang for your buck for an agility card in either A2 group. So it doesn't tip the scales for me in either way. Next, let's go back to Great Swords cards here and let's look at area resist. No, let's look at single target resist next. That's the easiest one and it's the one on the top. There are none. There are no Great Sword single target resist comps or cards. So if you're going to do that, you're going to have to go find a rainbow card. If you want to run Great Swords and you want single target resist, you're going to have to go rainbow. But it's not as bad as some other comps. It's A2 at least is not as bad of a Great Sword user to use the Rainbow Odin card, and I'll show you why. Let's head back over to WoTV Calc for a second here and look at our single target cards. First of all, Phantasmic Renderer Dark Odin. This is an ice element card. It's not the rainbow one, but it gives you 15 single target resist with 50% attack and 13% HP. There is just a ton of stats here that are great for everybody. And then once again, if you're ice, you're picking up more single target resist, more ice attack, and human killer 10 with more HP. I mean, if you can work Dark Odin into your team comp, boom, it is a banger of a card. It is great. It even has agility and spirit and AP. This thing's insane. And then here's your rainbow option. It's non-Dark Odin. It's regular Odin. This is your rainbow single target resist card you can work in. It does have human killer in the unit effect, which is nice. And it has 25 accuracy for ice element units. So if you find yourself having to dial all the way back into regular Odin here, at least you will get the accuracy for A2 or any other ice element greatsword user you're using if you need this on a greatsword element team. Still, with the complete lack of unit resist options on the greatsword cards, definitely ice element teams are going to feel better in this way just because of Dark Odin. Now, if you don't have Dark Odin, you only have regular Odin, then it's not going to matter, but we're trying to see what the maximum effective thing would be, and it's definitely Dark Odin. That card is just insane. Now we have a competitive category again next, and that competitive category is AOE Resist. Great Sword cards have 3 AOE resist options. Let's look at them. One of them is the newest card. Now, I pulled this card, A2 the Deserter, mostly because I loved it in missile teams. If you look at it in terms of greatsword teams, you're going to get slash attack up, which, yep, you're going to want that. You're going to get pierce resist and AOE resist. This is obviously insanely good for a greatsword team, but there's a secret bonus here. There is a wonderful secret bonus here, and that's if you look at the ice element units on this card. You have a lot of those newer DPS units in Howlett and Reagan. You have Alaya on here as an option for some range damage. If you want tanks, you have Barrett and, again, once again, Agrius, rest in peace. I wish I could use you, and if I could, I would. You have Agrius on here. You have cost limited in Winter Ravis. This is an insane card for Ice Element as well. If you want an AOE resist card, here's 20 AOE resist. And if you can find a way to work these ice elements into a mono team, this could be your AOE resist option. Unfortunately, Fryevi is not on here. If Fryevi was on here, oh my gosh, this thing would be busted for ice element teams as well, but still great options right here at the top. And then sure, use Barrett or, I might use Agrius just for fun. Just for fun, I might use Agrius. Still, it's a great AoE resist option for both Greatsword teams and for mono ice teams if you're going to use those units. Your other AoE resist options are as follows. This is an MR card. You still get 18 AoE resist and 30% attack and 12% HP. This is a banger of an MR card. And if you wanted to run this, yeah, don't feel bad about that at all. And then your other UR card is a magic scaling card. So if you're trying to use this on a job-based vision card team, you are once again limited to using it on Rain if you're not trying to waste all the stats. Still, it's 60% magic, 20 AoE resist, 16% crit evade. I don't generally like this card as a great sword team option because the biggest, thickest stat on it is that magic. Will that help Rain a ton? Yes. Will it help anybody else on your great sword team? No, it won't. So there's that. Now, if you're trying to mix this into a mono ice team, your options aren't fantastic. Like Velis, you will see a lot of Velis in the coming weeks, I'm sure. Nobody really plays Zoma. Valentine's Day Salier is there. There's just not a ton going on. So this card's a little bit weak. For the Greatsword type cards, I think your best option is going to be the newest one. With that slash attack, pierce resist, AoE resist. And if you can mix this in to an ice-based team where 2 or 3 of your units from this ice element are getting this, it's awesome. Now, what about elemental-based cards for AoE resist? You have Megalith Dark Golem, or excuse me, Corrupted Megalith Dark Golem right here. Gives you that 20 AoE resist, gives your whole group 8 defense and acquired AP. The big stat on here is definitely the AoE resist out of those 3. If you're an ice element unit, you do get 15% more HP, but the second unit effect, like the bonus unit effect, is Earth, which is a little bit unfortunate for the ice element. Still, a lot of stats on this thing. Once again, it's going to skew more towards a magic unit that wants to carry this, but there's plenty of ice element magic units that can rock with this card. Then you have Maniple. Now, Maniple is 20 AoE resist, 18 pierce attack, which feels a little awkward. 25 crit rate, though, is nice. The unit effect is ice element. Gives you attack, missile resistance, ice attack, and HP. A great unit effect, has a little bit of defense with attack and HP in it. You're not going to feel bad about working this one into a team at all. Then you have Trembling Heart. This one will make you feel a little bit bad. It is a magic card, which 50% magic or 50% magic stat is nice, but 10 AoE resist is very low for a UR vision card party effect, and then it's max damage up. So you immediately see this is more of a PvE card than it is a PvP card. Yes, the unit effect is nice right there. Okay, that's fine, but this is definitely more of a PvE card in my opinion. And there you go. Now, if we go back to the job-based vision cards and we look, there are obviously good options here for like damage, right? Like you could go slash attack, reaction, crit damage. I love this card for a damage option. You could try to splash this in for ice, but one of the reasons I like to run, and okay, let me just say, first of all, I'm going to go ahead and err on the side of, if you had to pick between job-based or element-based, I think I like her more right now in the game as an element-based team. I think there's more power there, and I think there's enough crossover between the job-based cards that especially if you're trying to use one like her new card in a sub-slot, you could work in a Howlet, you could work in one of those other units, a Reagan or something like that, and still get bang for your buck. However, one of the reasons I say that is not a however. This is one of the reasons I say that. When I'm looking at job-based cards, I'm going to look at Gun for a second right here. What I love about Gun is you get banger cards like this, where it has 2 of the big 3 stats, right? You get unit resist and agility on this card. In that case, it almost always feels worth using job-based teams if you can. Here, you don't have one of these cards that gives you 2, so I think you're free to move between the 2 however you can make it work. I'm going to give the edge to A2 in this case. That's my breakdown of the vision cards right there. Now, this is just what I was doing at work. You guys let me know if that was helpful or not. I'm still in the middle of theory crafting my teams. Next week when I start like pounding arena with her, I will definitely put out some content of those runs, show you kind of how she synergizes with the different units, but I haven't got there myself yet. This is more an exploration of the vision cards. So I hope it was fun. I hope it was useful. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you guys have a great weekend. I'll catch you next time. Peace.